I was fortunate enough to be raised in a Christian home. I never have questioned if he's good and all the things, right? But I've struggled quite a bit with health issues. I started having intermittent blindness when I was 19. And so while I heard the Lord calling me to full-time ministry and to go to school, I didn't know how to be a blind student, so I didn't do what he asked. Every time I would go a long stretch with my vision, I thought, oh, he's healed me. I'm healed, so I can maybe do this. And so I applied. I applied to the Kings with my vision intact. And I was certain that this time I was healed. I felt like the Lord told me that season was over and it was time to step into this new season and walking out my faith here at the Kings. And then 5 weeks in, I went permanently blind. I just hit my knees. I just cried out to the Lord and asked him, why did you bring me here for this? And he said, what I told you was that it's time to go to school and I will not leave you. I will be with you through everything. And he said, I'm still here.
At first, you want to ask why. And I think we all do. God, why did this happen? It doesn't take very long for you to realize that that's not a question he's necessarily obligated to answer. But when we turn our whys into what are you trying to teach me, everything changes. And I think that's true for Brandi. When she finally realized she may or may not get an answer to why, but what are you trying to teach me, and how are you going to prepare me through this so that I can be that person you want me to be? It's changing our questions. And I think she's realized that's part of her journey. It's part of our journey.
I have to rely 100% on the Lord. And while I feel like I've always had a pretty close relationship with the Lord, I don't have an option but to depend on him in many cases. I knew that I was called to ministry. I knew that I was called to school. Then I knew that I was called here. But I didn't know how to do it all. What I found here at the Kings was the Student Success Center, disability services. I didn't even know that there were resources for blind people. And so for God to put the right people in my life to help me be able to walk in the purpose he has for me is a gift that I could never have asked for because I didn't know I needed it until I did. And God was like, here you go. This is why we're at the Kings. This is why we're here.
It's Jesus' heart to care for the person, regardless of what a disability or anything is, that it's our heart. And we were able to, with Brandi, just stepping back and saying, what would Jesus do? Not because someone's blind, but what would Jesus do to help this person fulfill their calling and their goal? And whatever that means, if it means an auxiliary aid, someone walking you to class, Brandi opened the door for us to really begin to think about God using all of his people and making sure that we can equip everyone he sends here. She has a call to serve God. And it's an inspiration to those that are serving and are helping those that are serving to think, you know what? I have a lot to be grateful for, and I have a lot that I need to give.
One of the things that I think Brandi has sort of epitomized for me is the ability to see beyond the suffering. In some ways, it's intensified her love of God, which is a great testimony to her life, but it's also one that sparks that in me, is that I want to be everything God's made me to be. And if she doesn't allow blindness to stop her, what are the things that are stopping me? How do we continue to grow, to become like Christ in the midst of all of that, is what I've learned from her.
Her journey's different than a lot of people's journey. And she's facing head-on challenges that many of us will never remotely understand. But none of that limits what God can do through her and is doing through her. Because of Brandi's willingness to say yes to the Lord, there's nothing she can't do with God. in her walk, in her testimony, and living out her faith as a witness to hurting people. She is a light in a dark world.
I don't see with my earthly eyes, but I have vision where I didn't have vision before. From the very first time I lost my sight to the very last time I lost my sight, was he just said, through all of these trials, your testimony is going to impact others to see how kind and gentle and loving I am to my children.